So today we are going to paint fabric and make our own ribbon. I think it's a really fun winter thing to do on those days where you're feeling like you want to be creative, but like you're not creative. It's just, I don't know, you never know when you're gonna need ribbon and you're gonna be like, wow, I'm so glad I know how to make my own. So I'm gonna show you how to do it because I think it's important to have pretty ribbon on hand at all times. Before we get into the video though, let me introduce myself. I feel like I forget to do that and then I get to the end of recording a video and then I'm like, oh my gosh, these people have no idea who I am, which is okay. You don't have to know who I am in order to follow the tutorial, but I just think it's nice to know who I am. So I'm Annie. I'm a professional artist. I grew my art business on Instagram for 10 years and then, you know, the landscape of it has changed so much. It started becoming really impersonal. There is definitely a place for short form video, but last year there was like a month where 1-second videos were trending, and to me that's like outrageous, you know? So I love that YouTube offers a way to build more community and share my art in like a deeper way beyond 1-second videos. So some of my videos I share about my art business, about growing an art business. Some of my videos are tutorials so that you can grow in your skills as an artist, and some of my videos are just to have fun and be creative and, you know, be artists together. So anyway, that's what we're doing here. I still haven't quite figured out the direction that my channel is going in, but I have done a little bit of everything since I've started, and I think I'm gonna keep doing that until I figure out what I like doing the best. And recently on Instagram, I shared these little hand-painted ribbons that I made, and I thought that would be a really fun, easy tutorial to start the year off with. So, and again, who doesn't need hand-painted ribbons in their house at all times? I know I do, because you never know when it comes in handy. So let's get started. I'll show you the materials that you need and what I'm using, and then I'll link them all below for you. Again, it's super simple, so I'll just get into it. I have this fabric that I bought at Hobby Lobby. I've used this fabric, and then I've used a softer, more like muslin type fabric. I've used a softer, I don't even know what it was, I should know. But I will say the fabric medium that I used to mix in with my acrylic paints, I'll get to that in a second, acted very similarly to both fabrics. So I'm gonna do a little research and then I'll leave that in the comments and let you know what fabric works best, or maybe I'll try and figure out what type of fabric this is. Honestly, I went for white or like an off-white fabric at Hobby Lobby and it has served me well. So that's fabric. This is not pre-washed. It is not ironed. Maybe you have to do that, but I'm just gonna do this tutorial and tell you exactly how I did it and how it's worked for me. And I've done this a few times now. I painted on fabric and to make this ribbon, and this has worked for me. I've not pre-washed this. I have not ironed it. I just took it out of the bag and put it in my studio. So this is a smaller piece. Same fabric. We have our paints. I have to go clean my water, but I'm using one brush today, and maybe I'll use 2 brushes. It's Princeton's, where'd it go? There we go. Did it focus? I don't know. So anyway, those are the 2 brushes, super simple. Get yourself a paint jar. These are my leftover brushes from my last thing that I was working on. Been really bad about keeping my brushes clean, so don't be like me. Those are the brushes. Again, I'll link them below. You don't need to remember any of this. And this is the most important part of the whole tutorial. This is a fabric medium that I used. Again, I don't know if it's gonna focus. This is the medium that I'm using, and it says on the back here, 100% acrylic medium modifies paints for a softer hand and increased launderability on wearable fabrics. Must be heat set. Directions: mix 1 part of whatever GAC, GAC, I don't know, 900 to 1 part golden acrylic colors. Allow to dry. Iron 3 to 5 minutes, medium heat, or heat press 1 to 2 minutes at 300 degrees Fahrenheit close, or put in dryer for 30 to 40 minutes on high. Always test for your application. Again, I've never heat set anything because I just make ribbon out of it. But if you want it to be like set in your fabric, then there's directions for it in the back, and they're so easy, so simple, so straightforward. I think I will try and put it in the dryer because that feels like the most foolproof. So this is, it's very, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's has a high flow to it, very water-like consistency, maybe more like milk. And then you mix this in with your paints, and I guess I'll just keep it simple today, and I'll just do like the blue and white like I was using, and I use cobalt blue for this tutorial. 2 paints, and you can even get the smaller size. This is 4 ounces. You can get the 1 ounce, I think, the 1 ounce bottles. Yeah, so I'll link those below for you. So we have these paints, clean rag, and get yourself a paint palette and some fabric, and then we'll get started. Let's have some fun. All right, I'll give you some tips along the way too on how to use this the best, but really it's so simple and so straightforward. So let's get to it. So that was cobalt blue. And this is the matte medium, not matte medium, so used to saying matte medium. This is I don't know if it's GAC, that feels weird to say. GAC 900. And just put that right on the palette. And you can use any palette. Actually, I don't know if you can use any palette because I'm not sure if this comes off of any palette. I know the paint does, but I'm not sure how that would scrape off of a glass palette. So anyway, I use the paper just to be safe. I'm gonna get my paint here. I got myself some clean paint water. Did not do the best job cleaning my brushes, but I have clean water. Gonna grab the Princeton brush. This is my go-to right now whenever I paint on small surfaces. Where is it? Here we are. I don't take the tags off my brushes. That's something that a lot of people comment on, which I don't think is a big deal. I've gotten so used to it. I've always painted with stickers on my brushes. So I have these rags. I love these rags so much. They're super cheap. They come in a pack of a gazillion and they last forever, and it's just a better option than paper towels. So there's my rag. And then, so it says 1 part of this medium to 1 part paint, but I just kind of wing it. But you'll see it kind of turns it into like more of a watercolor consistency. And when you start painting, you will kind of get a feel for the consistency that you like. You can see here, it is very, very watered down. And then when you do that, it kind of acts like watercolor on fabric. It's so cool. So depending on your vibe and what you want to go for with your fabric, you can play around with whatever you want to play around with. So this is a smaller piece here. And oh, one other trick, BRB. So this does tend to bleed through, so you want to get something for under your fabric. So this is the back, so you can see it definitely like goes through the fabric. This is the front. So this is just one of the like backing, like a mat board backing that I use for my art prints. I just stick that under there. But you can do cardboard, you can do maybe like I would do like cardboard or something to put under your fabric. And really and truly, it is this easy. So I'll just paint a few flowers here and show you how I get started. And I just start from here, work my way across. I tend to work in like small rows, so I'll do like work my way across there, and then I'll do another row, or you can work your way across that way. I don't know, just go as you wish. So we'll start with like a poppy type flower. So you'll see here as I'm starting, it has too much of that medium in. So what I'm gonna do is put more paint to kind of thicken that up a little bit. And then what's really cool is you drop it in, you'll see it's kind of working like watercolor, and that's the part that is so cool to me. I don't know, I just think that's so fun. So yeah, we're just gonna make like a poppy type flower there. Now we're gonna go down with the edge of the brush here. For those finer, thinner lines, you want to use more paint, less medium. So I'm just gonna go now, make the stems. And as you get started, this is definitely different than painting with regular acrylic, so it won't take long to get the hang of it. But if you feel like you want to get the hang of it before starting your good fabric, just start on a little test swatch to get a feel for the consistency and the thickness of it. So yeah, and then once it dries a little bit, you can go in just like with watercolor. You can go in and like it layers, which is so cool. So if you start with a thinner layer, you can go on top with a darker layer, just like in watercolors when you work your way up from light to dark. You can do that with this. Next, I think I'm gonna do, let's do a few like little flowers. These are like more filler flowers. Fun. Now I'm gonna do like a peony type flower, and that is bleeding just a tiny bit too much. So it's a little wet because it was in the, it has water and it has the medium in it. So it is a little too wet. So that's a little peony flower. And see how this brush is a little bit more dry, so it has more texture to the flower instead of like that watercolor look. And I like having a mix of both. I think that's really fun. It adds variety to the painting. Okay, now I'm gonna do some leaves. That was too wet. Again, I feel like this is why we do a test swatch with before you want to start painting, because I mean, also it doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna turn this into ribbon anyway, so it's really okay if it's not perfect. But if you want to avoid all that bleeding and like the way it spreads like that, you want to have less of the fabric medium. That's how you avoid that. Okay, now I think I'm going to play around with just working my way out here, and I am going to speed the video up a little bit and work on some more flowers. So I'll speed this up, play some music, enjoy, and you can watch how I work my way across the fabric. Now I have this much painted on my fabric. Sometimes I'll just leave this out for a little bit and work on it as I have time, so you don't have to finish it all in one sitting. But I want to show you guys how I kind of just finish it up. I literally, I'll take a thicker piece here. So I will cut the fabric and then just rip it. And then you have your pretty ribbon. I don't know if that's gonna focus, but that is how you get the ribbon. So you just paint your fabric however much you want. I painted all this blue and white fabric when I finished a collection, so I was in between projects. And it's a really nice way to kind of decompress. Get yourself a yard of fabric and then leave it out and then paint on it as you wish. And then you'll have handmade custom ribbon at your disposal all the time. And I think that's so fun. Let me know what you thought of that tutorial. Let me know how you feel about this project. Also, so I use this to wrap up, or I am hoping to use this. I just recently, at the end of the year in 2024, used hand-painted fabric to wrap up my original paintings as like a little extra added touch. But let me know what you're gonna use yours for. I know there's so many creative people out here. I can't wait to hear what you do with yours, and I hope you have so much fun. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll do my best to get back to them in the comments. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. But I'm so excited to see what you do with your fabric and your ribbon and all of your hand-painted lovely fabric. So anyway, until next time, bye guys.